everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Blecyn. For today's video, as you can tell by the title, I will be sharing with you guys how much I spend living in Lagos as a low-income earner. If you are watching this video from outside of Nigeria or outside of Africa, you might think the figures I'm mentioning is quite little, or you might just go, oh my god, that is some affordable standard of living. It might be a very affordable standard of living. However, if I get to disclose the average salary a Nigerian receives, then you might understand why. And or you can go ahead and actually use Google search to see how much on an average a Nigerian receives as salary. And I can't guarantee you that Google is going to do justice to this question, because not every data is quite accurate on Google, and not every Nigerian data is actually disclosed exactly the way it is in the country. In this video, I'm going to be giving you guys a breakdown on my cost of living in Lagos on a monthly basis. While there are a lot of people planning and already moving out of Nigeria to other parts of the world, I am sure there are some people who are actually looking forward to moving back to Nigeria, back to Africa, which I encourage. And also, if you're someone who lives in a different part of Nigeria and you're looking to move down to Lagos and start a life here, this video is certainly for you. If you're moving from other parts of Nigeria to Lagos, I am here to help you as much as I can if you're a low-income earner. To some, my standard of living might be too affordable. To some other people, it might be just okay. And to some others, it might be a little bit expensive. My cost breakdown is going to be based on life on the island. Lagos has the island and the mainland. The difference might be very little or maybe nothing. It all depends on who and how the person lives. So just to be clear on it, I'm going to be making the cost breakdown based on my life on the island. So those who are living on the mainland might see or feel a little difference from the cost I might be mentioning. And some people on the mainland actually might even spend more than those on the island. It really depends on individual lifestyle, basically. I would also like to add that how much you spend, your standard of living, is greatly dependent on how much you actually earn per month or earn per year. Now let me say this, I am making this video for the purpose of personal finance, how you can actually improve your personal finance, how I have been able to live on a very lean budget. And so the message here is, if you're a young person like I am and you live in Lagos or you're planning to move to Lagos, as much as you can, cut down on your expenses and save a little more. Who knows, it might just come handy tomorrow. Nigeria as a country can be both expensive and affordable. Lagos as a state can be both expensive and affordable. It all depends on how much you are willing to spend, and also depends on how much you are earning and how much you're willing to live a minimalist life or frugally. I personally think if you're earning about $1,000 and you don't have any dependents, you don't have anybody depending on you, you don't have a child, you don't have a wife, you don't have a husband, you don't have anyone depending on you, I think with $1,000, which is approximately 400,000 naira, you can pretty much live okay. Not well, but just okay, because trust me, it's actually, I believe that should be the barest anyone should actually earn per month, but people are anyway below that and still surviving in the city of Lagos. So if you do not have a child, personally, for my opinion, if you do not have a child, if you don't have anyone depending on you, and you're earning 400,000 naira, I believe you can live pretty okay, just okay in Lagos. Of course, with plans to actually improve on your income and get a better income. While it looks almost impossible to survive. It's possible to actually survive. Or it all boils down to how frugal you are willing to live and how much you're willing to let go and how much of a minimalist you're willing to be. Personally, for me, cost of living varies, but there are some things that are fixed. Things like the rentage, the cost of the service charge, cost of power, cost of your gas, your gas, basically. All those are actually a bit fixed, and every other thing you can actually walk around. In this video, I will not be sharing how much I pay for rentage, neither will I be sharing how much I spend on my service charges or other fixed charges. I'm just going to be talking about my day-to-day living, my monthly living, how much I spend for all those variables that are, that you need to take money off your pocket every month. If you are the type that eats out very often, you're the type that likes to hang out, go to clubs, go for parties, spend time out, then you might just be spending a little much more than I'm going to talk about on those extras, because those actually cost a lot. You can actually, sometimes going out in Lagos for just a meal, you can spend as much as $50 and even beyond, sometimes $30. So it's cost a lot to actually eat out and hang out quite often. So that might just be a little too much for what I'm going to discuss today. So it's important for me to actually add that dollar currently is about $1 is about 400 naira. So I'm going to probably be talking in dollars. The reason is because I'm not just targeting those living in Nigeria, those living in Africa. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I am Blecyn. I make content around my areas of interest, which include career, tech, lifestyle, food, travel, and every other thing in between. I will be super grateful if you can take a moment to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and also share this video to someone who might just find it interesting and helpful. So let's get into the video. I will be consulting my sheets. I have a sheet that I made for this video and I'll be consulting it. So it's important for you to get your pen and your paper because we're going to be doing some real math here. So let's get started. First is power consumption. I basically spend approximately 5,000 naira for power per month, which is equivalent to about $13 thereabouts. You can actually check Google for the proper equivalent at the time when you are watching this video. Prior to this period where I started spending 5,000 naira a month, I was spending way more than that because I didn't have the meter system, the power meter system. Trust me, if you're moving to anywhere in Lagos, anywhere in Nigeria, make sure the house have a meter system, because if they do not have, I promise you're going to be spending ×4 of what I just mentioned for just power, just NEPA, not your generator, for just NEPA, and that is not funny. ×4, ×5 of it. So for power, I spend approximately $13, which is about 5,000 naira per month. Let's move on to the next item on the list. So the next on the list is actually internet. So for internet, I spend a lot on internet. I've used a lot of internet providers, ISPs. I've used a lot. I have used Spectranet, I have used Swift, I have used Glow, I have used Airtel. I've used a lot of them. And for Spectranet alone, I have used their MiFi, I have used their router. For Swift as well, I have used their MiFi, I have used their router, and trust me, it's not been funny. So approximately I spent $35 on that. So prior to this time, I used Spectranet for over 2 years and I was spending about $35 per month for my internet, which is approximately 13,500 tops. and but currently I am using MTN and I spend less than that. I spend approximately $25. Phone calls is next on my list, so I spend approximately 4,000 naira for phone calls. 4,000 naira is approximately $10. If I wasn't using WhatsApp calls and all that, perhaps I'll be spending more than this for phone calls, but because I use WhatsApp call to alternate with my normal mobile calls, it's this low, and sometimes I go below this. It's not every time I actually spend up to this, and sometimes I go above this, but on an average I spend 4,000 on phone calls. So let me go to the next item on the list. Generator charges. So generator, let me write that. So generator, so for generator charges, I unfortunately found myself in a service apartment, which I didn't bargain for, but it's fine. I've been here for 3 years and I spend on generator, but lately they've been doing some meter related stuff, so you can choose to pay or not. But approximately I spend 15. Currently I was spending more than that before on generator, but currently I spend about 15,000 naira, which is about 46 USD. Prior to this time I was spending more because we were using more hours back then, but currently the facility I live in, the apartment I live in, we spend just 4 hours per day for power. So we can imagine I'm spending this amount per month for 4 hours per. So I don't think that is good at all. So if you are moving to Lagos, be it from any part of Nigeria or from outside Nigeria, and you are living on a budget, I would encourage you not to go for any apartment that is a service apartment. Go for apartment that is decent and you can actually take charge of your power. Of recent, a lot of areas in Nigeria have been having like really good power supply from the federal system, and if you're lucky to find one of those areas where they have constant power, then I'm sure you'll be pretty fine, as long as the compound has a meter system. Moving on to the next item on our list. The next item on our list is cooking gas. So for my cooking gas, it cost me approximately 2,500 naira, which is about $7, and I think that is pretty fair. So I have this guy who comes around to pick my gas, my cylinder, at no extra cost. For the gas, it lasts for me for about 3 months, thereabout, sometimes even over that. So I fill my gas like 3 times in a year. So I think that is pretty much good. So I can actually say I spend just maybe $2 for gas per month. Pretty good, right? $2. It's good to cook, you know, it's just easy, cheaper to cook. Yes. Moving on to the next item on our list. The next on our list is groceries. So prior to this time, I used to spend so much on groceries. I mean, so much. I used to spend at least $200 on groceries before. Recently I went into my kitchen and I was checking through some of the stuffs I have, some of the canned foods I have, some of the seasonings and stuffs I have in the kitchen, and I was just throwing things out because they were expired or clogged up, or they were just not in good shape anymore. And it's sad that I was spending so much on groceries and most often I didn't use them. Sometimes I check in my cabinet and I realize that my butter or my margarine or my bread spread is expired. Meanwhile, I spent money buying it. So it was really bad of me, but lately I've been very smart about that. So currently I spend between 15,000 to 30,000 on groceries. Most often most of the things I get to buy kind of stays longer than a month, so I most often go to buy cereal because most of the other things I buy tend to stay more than a month. So yeah, I spend between 15,000 and 30,000 a month. So that would bring us, that's approximately $70. So approximately I spend $70 a month for my groceries. The amount I mention is because I'm really trying to cut down on how much I spend per month. If I actually have to shop for groceries, trust me, that would not go anywhere. Just for myself, not for family, not for anybody extra, and it will never be enough. So this is me trying to really cut down, prioritize, asking myself, do I need this? Do I really need this? Do I need that? And I choose what I really need. And for the things I don't really need, that is not so pressing, I just, let them go. Sometimes when it comes to my groceries, I don't stick to budget. I might have in mind that, oh, I'm going to spend like 20,000 today on my groceries, but by the time I get to the store, it changes because I love food. I am proud of the fact that I love food. I feel like food is a way for me to pay back for all the hard work, all the stress, all the pain I go through, all the time I spend studying. So I always feel like food is like a payback. So that's one thing I don't joke with. I don't joke with food. I'm not a huge eater. I don't eat like a whole lot of food, but I like to always have food, always go to touch something, always have to eat. So food for me is like a payback. So I love food, and sometimes my groceries don't really have limits, but because I try to be frugal, I tend to make sure I don't go beyond sometimes I just tend to force myself to stick around the budget. If I choose to go to the local market, I might spend a little less than I spend going to the superstore, going to the supermarkets and all that. However, it can be very stressful going to those markets, and secondly, I end up buying things I really don't need just because I feel okay, it's a bit cheaper or a bit affordable, and the stress of those markets, it's not worth it for me because I'm not buying much. It's not like I'm going to buy like a family meal where I'm going to be saving a whole lot buying from there. So I tend to just stay around the area where I live, just buy stuffs around, because sometimes if you go to the market you have to pay some taxes before you park your car, or before there are other things you have to do, transport to the market. So I just tend to stay around my area. I don't like to go to the market except I'm buying things in bulk, which of late I barely do. Another thing I do is that I know where to buy each thing I want to buy. I know where to buy my cereal at maybe a little different, at a rate that will be a bit different. I know where to buy my tomato paste at a rate that will be a bit different. I know where to go to get my fresh fruits and vegetables. I know when to go to Spar. I know when to go to ShopRite. I just know when to go to different stores because I know this is cheaper in this store. This is more affordable in this store. If you are moving to Lagos and you want to actually live a frugal life, or you want to really live within a particular budget, then I encourage that you actually explore different supermarkets around you, or different markets around you, depending on your choice, and see which is cheaper for you or better for you. Moving on to the next item on our list. So I have DSTV, but I currently don't use DSTV. I currently no longer watch TV as I used to. So but when I had DSTV, I used to spend DSTV. I used to spend about $10 on DSTV, and you can no, it's not $10. It's not $10. I remember it's actually more than $10 because the package I go for is actually a bit high. It's like second to the highest package, and I spend more than $10, but I can't quite remember. But with $10, I can actually subscribe to DSTV. So let's move on to the next item on our list. Okay, so when I started the video, I said I was not going to mention how much I spent on my service charge. Sadly, or unfortunately fortunate, I actually added my service charge, a breakdown of my service charge monthly on this list, and it's okay for me to just add it. For my security, waste disposal, and cleaning of the compound, the apartment where I live, not my apartment, not inside the apartment, just around the surrounding, I spent approximately 9,000 naira, which is about $33. There's a clause for this 9,000 naira. I still buy water for drinking, for bathing, for my cooking. So there's a clause for this 9,000 when it comes to service charge, and I think I can include all those other bills in my, service monthly service charges. So moving on to the next item on our list. So I do some cleaning in my apartment. I like to clean. I like to do my cleaning myself. However, it can be very time consuming sometimes, and sometimes I'm just so tired from the day's work and I just call someone to do the cleaning for me. Before it was more frequent, but recently I kind of, okay, I'll clean this week. Sometimes if I have the time, I clean, and then the next week I call in a cleaner. So I spend approximately $10 for cleaning. So let's just say 4,000 per. Oh no, I do it twice a. Okay, let's just say 4,000 per month. But sometimes I spend up to $15. Sometimes I spend up to $15 per month for my cleaning, but on the average, I spend about $10 per month for cleaning my apartment. The next item on the list, washing my clothes, my bed sheets, and my curtains and other things, my duvet and all of that. So I do that at home. I have a washing machine. I use that to do my washing. When I have to wash like very heavy duvet and all that, I take them out. So it's not really something that happens every month. So I'm not going to put that in my costs. But however, I spend on my detergents and on my softener and my stain remover and all that. Probably that would be in the groceries, because I buy them alongside my groceries. But if I'm going to perhaps put a price to that, I would just say I spend about $10 washing. Let's move on to the next item on my list. On our list, my list, your list. So I spend about $15 per month on my water. That includes my cleaning water I use for my dishes, as well as the water I drink, and as well as the water I use to cook, to bathe and cook. So I buy water for bathing. I have like drums. Yes, I have like drums. Just to be clear, right? Water flows in the apartments. The water is being treated. However, I do not think that the treating process is good enough. I'm not comfortable with the treating process. I tend to perceive chlorine too much sometimes in the water, and the filtering system they have broke down and they have refused to fix it, and for that reason I don't think the water is good enough. I spend about approximately $10 to $15 per month for water. So let's move on to the next item on my list. Basically, my transportation. I drive and I spend about $9,500 on my fuel monthly. $9,500 monthly fuel, and that is about $35 monthly for my fuel. And sometimes I have some fuel left the next month, and sometimes I have to pay less for the next fuel. If I were to be using keke marua, which is this, or a bus, I will be spending way more. I have made the calculation from my house to work and back. If I were to be using keke marua or a bus, I'll be spending at least 17,500 naira a month, which is approximately $46 to $50 a month on transportation. If I were to be using Uber per month, trust me, I'll be spending way too much. So driving has been the best bet when it comes to transportation. I spend way less for driving. Even if I have to put the cost of my car and the cost of servicing my car, I will still be spending less actually driving, because I've had this particular car for 2 years. So even if I'm going to spread the cost of that car for 24 months and also the cost of servicing it, I still believe that driving is cheaper. And apart from being cheaper, I'm getting the comfort, but it's not necessary. If you're living quite far from work, I don't think I would be able to drive to work, because the stress of driving in Lagos is actually, if you are like me and you work on the island, you live on the island, and you currently use Uber, I think you should really think twice about that. If I wasn't driving, I would perhaps be using the bus. I wouldn't use Uber to work every day. If you are earning something above $8,000 and you live proximity quite close to work and you're using Uber, I think it's fair enough. Lagos buses are just like, I don't know. Moving on to the next item on our list. So for something little extra, hi God. So I spend a little extra on my gym. I go to the gym, but not every month. Some months I know that I'm perhaps too busy. I have an exam coming up, I have something to do. So for that reason, I don't spend those months that I know that I'm going to be busy. I don't spend on my gym. But whenever I know I have the time, I actually do spend on gym, and I really like to. If I have my way, I would always go to the gym. So when I'm not in the gym, I actually have like a home workout routine, which I actually do every day, and it's actually been very helpful for me. So I approximately spend $15 on gym. That brings us to, let's say, gym $15. So sorry for my gym. I spend approximately $20 for gym, but like I mentioned earlier, I don't exactly use gym every other month. Approximately 8,000 naira. So guys, if we total all that I've mentioned up, we're going to get approximately $299. However, do not forget that I actually did some plus and minus, in some areas. I told you guys that there are things that I do not do up to so amount, and sometimes I do up to that amount. It's all on an average. It means that within $260 to about $300, you can be able to live in Lagos, to live around the island, depending on how much you are willing to spend and how much you're willing to actually live frugally. So what do you think about it? Do you think it's too much? Do you think it's too little? Do you think it can go way below or way above? Just let me know in the comment section. And if you live outside Nigeria, in any African country, it would be really nice for me to actually have an idea of how much it costs you to live in the major city in your country. I would really want to know. Bear in mind that I do not add how much you spend eating out, or how much you spend sightseeing, how much you spend going out, dancing, boogie and all that. I just gave you a breakdown of my home to work. Also bear in mind that I drive about 10 minutes to work, at most 15 minutes to work. So if you're staying farther away from where you work, it might be more expensive than this, especially your transportation. So put that into consideration when you are trying to get a place. Do let me know what you think about this in the comment section. So this is all for today, guys. Please do well to hit the like button to help my YouTube algorithm. And if you're new to this channel, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and also the bell icon, so you'll be the first to get notification whenever I put out a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next videos.